Hi there, this is Mark Shierman here with Fluid Life. Today we're going to talk about a topic that's hopefully near and dear to a lot of people that look at oil sample results on a routine basis, and that's how do I use these oil sample results? What do I do with them? It's the art of oil analysis response. And so the topic is essentially three topics. There's three stages of this process. The first stage is essentially the interpretation of the results. What do these results mean? Do I have any questions about them? The second stage is making a decision, and the third stage is responding. In those terms, it seems fairly simple. Interpret it, decide, respond. The thing is, most people will get tripped up in one of those three sections. In the category of interpretation, the things you want to do is you want to make sure that you don't have any questions about the results. You feel that you can trust them. The laboratory has done a good job. What does that mean? It means that you have some level of trust that the numbers are correct, the flagging that they've applied is correct, and that the comments they've given are representative. As an independent laboratory, you should be able to trust that the numbers are fairly correct. It's often the flagging and the comments that tend to trip people up. If you do have those issues, you want to chat with your laboratory about them. Beyond what the laboratory results indicate, there's another topic, which is the knowledge of the situation, and that's really an internal conversation. Typically, your operations group, your maintenance group will have some knowledge about whatever's going on with your machine that may indicate some reason as to why the results look the way they do. The next category would be getting some additional perspective. I think that oil analysis results trips people up because different parties will interpret them differently. One party may look at them and say, no, that's no problem, let's just keep going. The next party may look at it and say, this is major, we need to do something about it. I think that getting additional perspectives is where you build consensus. And so it's the consensus that allows you to understand fully from multiple perspectives why this is happening and what could be done about it. The next category that needs to be discussed is the decision itself. Typically, the decision-making process is nothing more than weighing your options and making the call. If you have an option of doing something or nothing, do I do something or nothing? It's an easy discussion. If the answer is, do I do option A, B, or C, it forces you to think about what option A, B, or C could be. So in the terms of response, you could ignore the results, and when you ignore the results, what you're telling yourself, if I'm not going to respond to these results, what results would I respond to? You could gather more perspective, and you could pick up the phone and call one of your vendors, and you could say, hey, oil supplier, what do you think of these results? Hey, bearing manufacturer, what do you think about these results? You probably get a bunch of different answers that will they'll all be valid. It's ultimately your machine, and therefore you're the ones that should take that information from your vendors with a grain of salt and decide what's best for you. You could tell yourself that you're going to monitor more closely. If you tell yourself that, monitor more closely could mean a bunch of different things. It could be more frequent oil samples. It could be the same frequency of oil samples with additional testing, or it could be cross-comparison of oil sample results with other condition monitoring techniques like vibration or thermography. But you should prescribe for yourself what monitor more closely means to you in this situation. You could perform an inspection, and I think that this is the outcome that a lot of people typically do. The oil sample would lead people to some sort of an inspection of the machine, which would then confirm their theory about what's going on. And it's based on these inspections that further repair work gets done. So if you're going to perform inspections, it's important that your technicians are aware of what you want them to inspect and what outcome you could expect to achieve, whether the inspection goes one way or the other. If you're going to perform a repair, it's because the oil sample results are so obvious that the repair should simply be made. In many cases, that doesn't really happen because a lot of repairs cost a lot of money, and so people definitely want some level of validation. I think that the types of repairs that do get made commonly are change the oil. I don't know that I need to rebuild the cylinder or rebuild the bearings, but I do know that I should drop the oil and put a new charge of oil in. I have that level of confidence. And so people do change the oil based on oil sample results, which is a perfectly fine way of responding. It's important, though, that when you change the oil, you're not really solving the problem. You're kind of kicking it down the curb, and it may pop up again in the future. You could also change the PM interval. You could either back off on your drain interval, or you could tighten up your drain interval, depending on how you feel about the level of comfort and this machine's oil condition versus its expected reliability to your operation. So the last area where I think a lot of companies would like to get to is the category of improvement projects. And essentially, what people are normally doing is they are monitoring the status quo with their oil samples. The problems that are being reported are the problems with the status quo. When you see a reoccurring problem that happens over and over again on perhaps multiple pieces of equipment, it's logical to think about what kind of improvement projects could I do. If you're going to go down this road, there's a lot of potential benefits of going this road. It's important to do the research and discover what the possible outcomes could be. The interpretation, decision, and response protocols are customized to you. They're really, whoever is looking after the equipment, you're the ones that should get the input, but ultimately we just want to be here to help you in that decision. If you have any further questions about this topic, please feel free to check out our website, fluidlife.com, or give us a shout. We'll be more than happy to chat with you. Cheers.